Have you ever felt like everyone expects something from you? I mean, your parents expect success, your friends expect progress, society in general expects results from you. Somehow, you find yourself having an expectation of perfection upon yourself. But what happens when those expectations become too heavy to carry? Well, today, let's talk about purpose. So, pressure is everywhere. One of the strangest things about life is that the older you get, the more the expectation. And the more the expectation, the more pressure. So when you look at it, at 18, one of the main things or the expectation on you was what course are you going to study? And when you are 22, you were probably thinking of how you're going to graduate from school. And when you are 25, how are you going to get a job? When you are 30, how are you going to get married? And after married, you start thinking about children and it never ends. I can remember when I was 18, I was thinking about the course I'm going to study because around that age I was still in secondary school and I wanted to study computer science, but I ended up studying mathematics, which there's a lot of story behind that. Even though when I got the mathematics, I still wanted to do change of course on level two. So you know how attachment is. I got attached to my friends, and it's not like they managed to convince me, but I just don't want to start something new again. And one thing about university is when you get used to your friends in a new environment, you tend to stick with those friends. So I wasn't feeling it to change the course, even though we know that what was ahead of us was big, and because math is not actually easy. So my pressure back then when I was 18 was how would I find a good course to study in the university. And so fast forward to when I was 22, I was thinking about graduating, and which I didn't graduate 4 years later because of ASU strike. We all know what happens in Nigeria. And again, I may have listed maybe what we think would happen, or what I think we'll be doing at each stages, but that does not necessarily mean that everybody's life have to follow that stage. Everybody has his own stage. But what I'm trying to get to you is that at different stages in our life, the expectations are different. So is this pressure. And the bigger the expectation, the bigger the pressure. So the cycles never end. So many people aren't tired from work, they're tired from expectation. So there's danger that comes with it, and a lot of us make decision based on what people think. I think that's what add more to the pressure. I mean, God said, as a Muslim, we all believe that Allah will not burden you with what you cannot take, and so yeah. But the pressure comes, we add additional pressure to the situations when you start thinking about what people would think. I don't know if I'm making sense. I do believe I'm making sense. So a lot of us make decisions based on what people will think, not what we really want. Not, and also not what Allah wants. Just like I said, Allah said He does not burden a soul beyond what it can take. So um, the problem is if you live for people's applause, you also die from its criticism. Just like what's happened, just like what's happened to me uh, not long ago, just yesterday. I was trying to decide on what to do if I were to delete my videos that I ended up uploading, which weren't good quality, and I don't like it based on it's been long when I shoot an episode. So I kind of forgot the settings of my usual settings. So it's messed up my quality when I posted it online, which people have started engaging with. But I'm not doing it for the engagement, not like that. I'm doing it mainly to make myself happy. So I have to delete it and post it again to so that the quality will be okay. if I'm okay with it, then fine, everything can come with it. Even if people are not, I'm just more focused on how I feel inside. So if I feel okay with anything, I take whatever that comes with it. So the criticisms, I don't care. So most people are living for people's applause, and living for people's applause add to the unnecessary pressure. I mean, the pressure itself, it's huge, but when you want people to applaud you or you're seeking for validation, it adds to it. So no matter what you're doing, just try to make yourself come first. When you're okay with it, you're happy with it, you can deal with any type of criticism. And Islamically, the Prophet, peace be upon him, faced immense pressure. People mocked him, they rejected him, they called him names, yet he remained focused on his mission. Why? Because he measures success differently. Not my public opinion, not by public opinion, rather, but by obedience to Allah. So that's why I used to say that it always goes down to God. Yes, it always goes down to God. Because when you think you have something, a divine power that agrees with you or that is pleased with you, then there's nothing a mortal human being can do to you. You can handle everything. So when the heart is disconnected or far away from that spiritual feeling, that spiritual belief, you find it very difficult, because if you don't have that, it's very hard for you to pass through trials and tribulations. You might actually fumble. But if you believe that God is with you and God is testing you, and with His grace, with His mercy, you are going to go through the storm and you'll be okay. So imagine if you eliminate that, what are you going to use to replace that? Is there anything close to that? I mean, when you want to use people, you might actually lose them. Then what are you going to use apart from that? So even though there are some people that don't believe in God and they still find a way, but there are two things to it. If you don't believe, or if you don't have anything that you kind of find yourself, that you measure, if you don't have anything to run to, maybe when you're facing the difficulties of life, if you don't choose Allah, you're going to choose something. There's always something you're running to. There's always, because of hope. Just like my friend used to say, as long as there's hope, there's life. So without hope, there's no much life. So to find hope, or what produces hope, is believing in something divine. It mostly comes from spiritual it mostly comes from spirituality. Sorry. So it's very important for you to have a connection with your creator, so that you have him to cry on, you have him to basically be your guide in life. So that's what the prophet, peace be upon him, did, and prophet before him also did. And yeah, many of us are stressed because we are trying to satisfy everyone except the one who matters the most. So we shouldn't try to satisfy Allah, and with that, you will be satisfied too. I have this famous hadith that I have in mind, that I always take with me. I have it written in my book before I have it crammed in my head, but I don't think I can actually give you the complete hadith. But it's along the way of this. It's not in quotes. I have created you to worship, so don't play. I have already set your share of sustenance for you, so don't make your mind tire. And O son of Adam, if you are content with what I've allocated for you, I will bring peace to your heart and mind, and you will be praised by me. And if you are not content with what I've allocated for you, you will run. And if you are not content with what I've allocated for you, I will set the world loose on you, where you will run just like animals run in the wild. Just like animals run, just like I have forgotten. And you not be praised by me, O son of Adam. I created the seven heavens and earth effortlessly. So would it trouble me to send a simple loaf of bread your way, O son of Adam? I love you, so by my rights, love me. I don't have it in full, but it's something along the line of this, which actually makes sense. Actually, it does make sense. I would like to have said it accurately so that you guys can take it from there. But maybe I'll find a way to put it on the screen for you. So apart from the prophet, there are a lot of prophets we can take away. Um, there are a lot of prophets too that we can take away from them how they live their life. I think about Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam. He was betrayed by his brothers, thrown into a well, sold into slavery, imprisoned for years. Imagine how behind his life looked compared to others. Yet every stage was preparing him for where Allah was taking him. Sometimes what looks like delay is actually preparation. To actually touch on this, I myself I'm a proof of I'm a living proof because I have always been a shy person. I know that most people that know me will be surprised that I'm even putting my face on the media, always on camera these days, always shooting videos. They know that that's not how I was before. But I think one thing for sure is that they know I have the potential to start all this or to do what I'm doing now. But I was always shy. So when I was in secondary school, that was when I was the most shy. When I was about to enter university, then my mindset started shifting. Yeah. So my university days, I could remember clearly there was a day I just sat down and I was like, I want to do all the things I did not do during my secondary school. This time I want to break all the rules. I just want to live a life with no fear. So and that was what I did during my university days. My friends can actually testify. And yeah, and I think that was one of there's this feeling with there's this feeling with being free. Like it's such a good feeling. I felt free, but when I was in secondary school, when I was shy, I felt like a boy put in a cage. If I'm actually making sense. Then life happens. I mean, I went through one of the toughest times in my life. Yeah. Apart from saying that I'm going to live a life of no fear in the university, I think, towards my final year. That stretch from my final year to maybe probably last year, where one those probably last year that stretch was very tough for me, and it shaped me to what I am today, and that's the same reason I'm here doing the podcast. So I truly believe that sometimes what looks like delay is actually preparation, and every stage that you go through, every difficult stage you're going through, God is actually preparing you for something else, something better than what you've imagined, something better than what you want, and it's better for you. So ask yourself this question: am I chasing my goals or someone else? What pressure am I carrying that doesn't belong to me? If nobody judged me, what would I truly pursue? Am I living intentionally or performing for an audience? These questions, when asked correctly, can change your life. It can change your life definitely. So that was why I always encourage you to always have an alone time. Always have a time that you can think about all these things. Think about your goals. I know that's the easiest question out there. We can easily identify what we want. But when it comes to the pressure, which pressure are you carrying that doesn't belong to you? Think about it. There are a lot. And I think it should be something that we practice a lot in our day-to-day life. You feel free. Yeah, you feel light. You won't be heavy. You won't have so much something heavy on your mind, especially those that have a lot of money. So ask these questions. When asked at the right time, right place, this can change your life. Then maybe you're not feeling, maybe you're just carrying too many voices in your head. The voices of society, the voices of your family, and the voice of comparison, or maybe the voice of fear. So they are all drowning out the voice of purpose. Sometimes growth begins when you stop asking questions like, what do people expect from me? And start asking yourself, what do Allah expect from you? And that brings us to the next conversation. Because even when you find purpose and learn to ignore unhealthy pressure, there's still one thing that can destroy your progress. What's that? Discipline. Or more accurately, the lack of it. We'll talk about that in the next episode of the 3M Thoughts with Abdul. This is 3M with Abdul. Thank you for listening. Thank you for making it this far. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share our videos. Have a nice day.